Hey everyone, welcome to Life After Work. Solomon here. Today I think for this video we'll be talking about ships, trains, and planes. All three of them. It's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge. So let's start off with the USS New Jersey. The last video I did a lot of, talking, but I was showing you all of the doors and hatches and photo etch that I'm putting on the New Jersey. Talked about it, and I wasn't sure if I could handle it because anyway, we won't go into that. It's just very difficult. One of my subscribers recommended a tool. I've ordered that tool. It's for holding very fine photo etch and the like. And he even suggested use a crayon. So that all started to make sense. Well, I ordered the tool, but it's going to take probably to the end of March, if not the first week of April, to get it. So I'm not going to put any more photo etch on the New Jersey right now because I don't want to mess it up. And frankly, I've already lost two pieces because even with tweezers, my grip on the tweezers is such that I think I'm holding something, but since I can't feel my fingertips, when I got ready to put it on, it wasn't there. So anyway, that's a personal problem. Now, let's talk about these 5-inch guns that I am putting the barrels and everything on, because you remember, I'm sure, let's just make sure this comes out good on the video. All right. It's the size of my thumbnail, okay? There you go. This has two barrels. It goes into two little pieces with holes drilled in them that fit down inside the gun mount. So there's two barrels, two of those little pieces that the barrels fit in. There's the mount itself. I've got the photo etch, and I'm going to have one closed door. That's one piece. I'm going to put the other door on there. It's going to be an open door. That's two pieces. Then I've decided, and I've got one piece up here. And I've decided I'm going to take this small tubing. It will fit over this little nub. I'm going to glue it on, cut it off, and it will fit down in these holes. I'm going to drill the holes out to fit this tubing to basically accomplish the same thing I accomplished with the big guns. And they will articulate. I mean, you'll be able to move them, but that's not the real purpose. The purpose is so I can detail them, I can paint them, I can do whatever I need to do to the ship. I don't have to worry about the guns being in the way. I don't have to worry about how I'm going to paint them, when I'm going to paint them, because I can do them separately right now. Once I get them fully detailed, I can go ahead and paint all the guns and have them sitting over there just waiting on the rest of the ship. So I've decided to go that way, and it's real easy. I mean, I'll just cut off a little length of this. I don't need much. And I don't even need any weight on it. These things are so lightweight, just that little bit of styrene on the bottom will hold them in there without any real trouble. But if I did, I've already decided if you'll look at the opening in the end of this, I just get a little piece of solder, stick a little piece of solder in there. That solder would give enough weight that they won't bounce out, wouldn't be a problem, and I can pull them in and out whenever I want. So that's the plan on that. Now, these, and I got a dark colored jacket on, so I shouldn't have to do anything else. These, if you'll remember, everything over here was broken in half. It's glued back on now. I'm not going to use these. I glued them together just because the sprue had the numbers on them that coincide with the model. And since there are 3 different sizes of these, I need to know by the instructions where they want me to put each one. Now, I'm not as hung up about that as you might think. I'm not really a rivet counter. I just like to know how many rivets I should have. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, if they're not exactly in the right place, I pretty much know where they go because I kind of have an idea of the surfaces that are draining from these. But these have the little nubs in the middle of them. That's why it broke down the middle over here. They're not shaped right. There's nothing about them that's right. Now, as I told you, I had ordered some half round. This is it. That's the half round. And if I take this and I put that half round next to it, if I get it flat side right, if I put it next to it, it's exactly the same size. Exactly. So I can use the half round and make some new ones. Now here's another thing. If you look at these, there's no distinctive, I don't know what you call it, no distinctive shape to them. They're just straight pieces. I can cut straight pieces off that piece of styrene and put it on the ship and it'd be like this. The truth is, and I'll put a picture right over here, you know how I do that, and I will show you that these are tapered on both ends and the bottom side is open. Well, I'm not going to be able to open it because it's just too small. However, I can taper, you know, put that angle on both sides of it. So I've got that worked out, got the material set aside from that. Also, this is small enough I can now do that detail, and I'll kind of put another picture up here again, that goes on the stern because what I had before was too big. So I'll now be able to make that detail. So I've got the materials now and I've got the plan for how to do all that. And I will be working on that while I'm waiting on that tool for the photo etch. Now, that's my ship discussion for today. I'll get back on that and I'll have an update just on the New Jersey here before long. Trains. While I wasn't feeling so well last fall, I did sit down with some brass wire and my benders, and I could sit there in the chair and bend some of that wire, do some detailing. After the first of the year, I did some painting, and I did make progress on the Bumblebee and my detailing on the Bumblebee. I videoed it and I just left it on the chip. I didn't even take the chip out of the camera for the longest time. Eventually, well, recently when I started feeling better, my physical therapy was working and my medication was working, I went to the camera to get the chip out. It wasn't in the camera. Now it was in the camera because I can't use this camera without the chip in it. It tells me right there that there's no chip. So I've been looking for it. I evidently took it out for something. Probably to replace it with this particular one that's in there now. And actually this camera takes 2. I've checked both of them. There's 2 64 gigabyte chips, like little SD cards like this. There's 2 of them, and I can set this camera up to record, start recording on one and switch to the other when it gets full. Or I can have them both run at the same time and get 2 copies. So I've got mine set to run consecutively instead of concurrently. So I checked both of them. If I can find that particular SD card, I'll have the details for doing the Bumblebee. I'm not going to get into it. I'll show you a picture right up here of what I started with. I soaked it. Once I got it stripped down, I soaked it like we do with new models, but this was such an old one, been on the shelf, been handled, didn't have a lot of detail, handled a lot, just getting the detail off. So I soaked it in Dawn and water, washed it real good, and basically I've ended up with this, and it's looking pretty good, looking pretty detailed. It's a bit too shiny. I went ahead and painted most of my piping with, it's a different black. You can see it's a different black. Well, maybe you can't. It's not exactly black. But what I'm going to do now, because I painted it separately and glued it on, I'm going to, and I've got some discussion to do about the generator here, the compressor. But anyway, I put a lot of detail on it. Put a lot of my little miniature detail back here on the back of on the back head. I painted everything with a gloss black, and then the intention was that I would use a matte finish or a satin to go over it and knock some of the sheen off of it, because I just don't like all that sheen. So anyway, I've done a lot of work, but I can't find my video, and I want to show the video on that. And then I've got to put this all back together again and get it running. So that's a little project for the spring maybe. So anyway, that's my trains thing. And also, you can't see it back here right now, I've got my F-scale gear-driven locomotive. I want to lube it up, get it on a test track, and run it, because it's a beautiful F-scale gear shay. If you've not heard of a shay, an S-H-A-Y, it's just a geared locomotive used in the mountains for hauling logs and the like. So that, a couple of train things to do there. Now let's talk planes. Well, I showed you my big bad and beautiful B-29 Super Fortress. I was a little bit disappointed in that model. It's a good model. It's an old model. Let me get it over here and show you. Okay, here it is. It's the big bad and beautiful Super Fortress. Now, the only thing about this, I wanted to make this into one of the two B-29s that dropped bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And this one, if you look at the box art, you'll see that it has gun mounts up here, back here. There's also belly mounts, etc. And neither the Enola Gay nor the boxcar had those guns on it. They took, and I don't have any of the data in front of me right now. I've been reading up on it. I think they took 1,000 to 2,000 pounds, almost a ton, of weight off of these planes by taking out the guns and taking out the ammo. I'll give a little more of that whenever I start working on these. But anyway, this was a little disappointed because this particular one I would have to do a lot of retrofitting. Instead of the guns, I'd have to put caps over those holes that were representative of what were really on the Enola Gay and the boxcar. I've been putting my binder together with all the instructions, everything I need to do. This box I'm going to take to my model shop. They actually have a big shrink wrap machine that puts the wrap back on these just like they're new. I don't want to take a chance on losing parts from this, so I'm going to have them shrink wrap it for me if they'll do that, and I'll put it back up in my stash because I want to do this. It's the Lucky 11, L-E-V-E-N. The Lucky 11 was instrumental in changing the strategy of bombing in China. That's why they made a model out of it. So anyway, I want to I want to build this eventually, but it's a big model and I've got to clean off a lot of room here. So now let me get to my other plane. Oh, you didn't know there was another plane. Give me just a second. Okay, this is my other B-29 model. I just got this one. By the way, the other model was a 1989 model, and it's actually in pretty good condition. The injection was fairly good. I really didn't see anything too bad about it. This is a newer version. This particular one, if you will notice on the box art, if I can find them to point them out, you've got these fillers, these caps that are put in here. That's true to what happened. They took the guns off, and there's also some on the belly. So this comes without the guns. It comes with the R on the tail in the decals, and it is set up to be made into one of three, not one but three different B-29s. The decals are in here for them. The type of plane is put in here for them. One is the Enola Gay, the other is the boxcar, and forgive me, my Spanish is not nearly as good as my Italian. El Pájaro de la Guerra. I haven't looked up the history of that, but it is also in the same, I don't know what they were calling it. They might have still been calling them groups, squadrons, whatever. But they both the De La Guerra and the Enola Gay have R's on the tail, which put them in the same flight group of some kind. But that's what the interior looks like on it. That's what the three planes look like with their badging. So my intent is to make this one the boxcar, like this one down here. I've been collecting pictures. I've been collecting all kinds of data. I've got, like I said, my 3-ring binder made up. As I have said previously in a video, the landing gear that comes in these monogram kits will not hold up the plane. Also, the nose gear won't stay on the table because the weight of the plane is such that it lifts it off. So I'll be putting weight in the front of the plane to keep it level. I have some shot that I will douse with super glue, and that will add weight to the nose. I have these from Scale Aircraft Conversions. I have these white metal landing gear which will strengthen and hold up the airplane. To go on those from Squadron Products, I've got aftermarket resin tires, the nose tires, the nose wheels, as well as the main wheels, and they've got good detail on them. They've got all the tread. They even have where they're sitting, the plane is sitting on the weight, or the weight of the plane is on the tire, and it's bulging out on the bottom. So everything is, this is really good stuff. So that'll be an upgrade that I'll do. And I haven't opened the new model. I did open the 89 model, and there was practically no detail on the tires at all. I've also, so far, I've got photo etch for the exterior of the plane. This is for the exterior to give it some more detail. I have some more photo etch coming, and the photo etch that is coming literally lines the bomb bays, lines the engine compartments, and it basically is an engine upgrade. They fold up very nicely. It's not as fiddly as some of this other photo etch we have. So I've got that. And I've got some very detailed, again from Squadron, propeller set for the Flying Fortress. A lot more detail, and they're a little bit more rugged than the ones that come in the kit. They're pretty flimsy plastic. So I'm getting that all together, along with my book. And the book has full histories from the time Curtis LeMay took over the B-29 program. All of the instructions that come with it. There'll be two books. One book is going to be basically for the Lucky 11, and the other book will be for boxcar. So I've got these underway. So my ships, trains, and planes plan, I'm moving ahead with them as hard as I can. It'll be a while before I get to the B-29. Now, it's a very large plane. It's probably close to 4 feet wingspan and 3 feet deep. I don't know. Well, that's my whole tabletop here. Well, not the whole tabletop, but it's a big part of my tabletop. So anyway, that's my ships, trains, and planes update with my plans going forward. And right now I am going to be putting a lot of this new styrene on the New Jersey, catching up on all my guns, getting the detailing done, other than the detail that requires photo etch until I get this new tool and see how it does. It was also suggested that I use a different kind of glue, which I'm all about. If I've never heard of it before, I want to use it. And I was told of a glue. Jewelers use it. It's not as fast acting as super glue. It's a little more forgiving, but it allows you to manipulate a little better. So I bought some of that as well. It'll be coming with the this new tool that hopefully will hold everything in place. So that's it. I think I'll call this quits right now. I won't be doing as much videoing and probably not as much work over the next week, because I am going through my shop. I'm reorganizing it. I told you I was going to do that. I have very briefly started it because I keep, every time I start, I want to put something on the ship. So I get carried away with that, and then I don't do what I need to do. So I'm going to get the shop in good shape, ship shape, and then I'll get right back on this stuff. Next topic, mail call. The finer detail. John and I have been talking about his shop card. He has put together a shop card for me that's a ship. This isn't it. This was a previous version of this. I printed the final version out, and I don't know what I did with it. But it's a very nice shop card. It's got beautiful battleships on it. And his channel is The Finer Detail. So he sent it to me electronically, and I'm printing them out for me, just my copy. So I appreciate that. Everybody's getting these now. Grandpa has got his shop cards, and he's been putting them in the mail. Ron Stewart, really great. Sent it with some kind words on the back. Thank you, Ron. I tell you what, I like that. I like that little Ford. That is cool. But then I like Lincolns too. These old Lincolns, back when I was a kid, if you could get your hands on one of those, that was uptown for the hot rodders. DG Old School Models. DG Old School Models 1. I haven't heard yet if he's received his prize yet. I have received word from 3 others that they have received their prizes. So far the response has been very good. I will, as they post, if they post videos of their mail call when they receive the gifts. I will put those on a video, just as a link on a video. And I have a video that I'm going to put out. I've already made it. I made it before I ever shipped anything. After everybody, I know everybody's received their prizes, I will put my video out. And that way everyone on my channel will be able to see what the prize winners got. But at any rate, I do appreciate it. DG Models, DG Old School Models. Go over there and subscribe to him. If you haven't already subscribed to Ron Stewart at Grandpa's Toy Room, please subscribe to him. And obviously, anybody that does ships, that's going to ring good with me. So the finer detail, go check him out. So that's pretty much it for me. I need to get off this video and start cleaning up. So that's pretty much it, and I hope you all have a good week. Adios. I think that's Spanish for have a good week. Bye.